Hi, everybody. Welcome to the meeting today. It is June 13th, 2024, and the mission for the Arts Commission is to develop, advance, and nurture all facets of the arts to enhance the quality of life for Meridian residents and its visitors. We will start, or does anybody have a motion to begin the meeting? Is that how you?
Adopt the agenda.
Oh, adopt the agenda, excuse me. Does anybody, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move we adopt the agenda.
Okay, Patrick O'Leary moves, Lizzie Taylor seconds. Oh, and then we'll do, should we do attendance or should we give it a bit? Okay. Oh, and then, do I need to call for, a vote on, yeah. And can I get a vote on, yeah, how do you call for that? Oh, all in favor of adopting the agenda?
Aye.
Sorry.
Aye.
Okay, and we will do roll call. Lizzie Taylor. Bridget King.
Here.
Sean Muscolo, she's not here.
Here, I'm here.
Oh, here.
Yes,
Hi,
I'm here.
Sean.
Hi.
Gotcha, sorry. Brecken Bird is here. Crystal is not here quite yet. Patrick O'Leary,
Here.
Bobby Gatan,
Here.
Anna Scoville. I see you. Vasil Ivanov.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, I'm getting it. So next, on the agenda, we have a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, May 9th, 2024.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes from the meeting of May 9th, 2024.
All right, Lizzie Taylor, moves. Do we have a second?
Madam Chair,
seconded.
I'll second.
Thank you. I'll do Patrick seconds on that.
Yeah.
And then all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So all ayes. Do we have a motion to approve the monthly financial statement? Did anybody have any questions or? Okay, Bridget motions to approve. Do you have a second? Lizzie Taylor seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I think all ayes on that one. All right, the next item on the agenda is new business. There is an event postponed. We've all heard about that, I think, via email, but Cassandra, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, so this was supposed to be an event that was happening tomorrow, but yes, as you know, it's been postponed. And then I think all of you got the, hopefully you were able to watch the short video that Channel 6 did. That was pretty exciting, and she'll do another one when we announce the reveals, hopefully in the coming weeks. It sounds like the glass panel is back ordered, and so we kind of don't know how long this is going to be, but stay tuned.
Okay, thank you, Cassandra. Yes, we're very excited about that when it does happen. And yeah, the second new business item is to recommend the Tammy D. Word Awards in the Arts awardees. And Crystal was going to present that, but I think probably you have the list of, Cassandra has the list of awardees that we can look over.
Yes, commissioners. So we actually printed out the memo, so you should have that in front of you with the list. Maybe, is there anyone else that was on the subcommittee that might want to speak to that?
Cassandra, quick question. When, maybe I just missed hearing it, when will the nominees be notified? for the award winners?
After the Arts Commission approves them. So
The reason I ask,
tomorrow or next week.
okay, it would be better if it could be sooner than later, because I know Bunny's on Griffith is going out of town for a good month. So, okay, just asked and answered.
All right. Well, it looks like Crystal is here. We'll let her put her stuff down, but if she wants to say something about, if she wants to talk about the awardees, before we recommend them, then we'll let her.
I was really excited to see the people that were presented, and that's pretty much it. I thought it was a pretty good turnout.
Okay. And do you want me to continue, I think, leading the meeting, or do you want to? Okay. I don't- yeah, I guess, if everyone had a minute if everyone received this memo and, looked over it and would like to, recommend these nominees, is that all we need to do? I think it's a finalized.
Yeah, Madam Co-Chair, I move we approve this nomination list of outstanding awardees.
All right, do we have a second?
Second,
Lizzie Taylor seconds. And then all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, all ayes.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, sorry, one update to the memo. So we had put September 7th for the opener for Concerts on Broadway. I have a wedding that I'm trying to figure out how to go to that's on September 7th, and trying to coordinate how I could possibly be absent for that concert. So I would like to move the Tammy DeVeard Awards either to the Community Art Party or one of the other concerts on Broadway. Does the commission have a preference? Internally with staff, we were talking about the Community Art Party might be good. It's developing into having a lot of people, and it might make sense because it's really arts focused. But open to a different concert on Broadway date or the Community Art Party, if you have any feedback.
Madam Chair.
I think that is a great idea to have it at the community art party.
Yes, I was just thinking the same thing, that the would do it during Arts Week if you think we'll have a bigger crowd, and better draw, and we can figure out when to put it in.
Yeah, just do it as a specific time so that the awardees don't have to hang around for hours in the heat.
Am I talking to a wall? Okay, I like the idea of doing it at Concerts on Broadway, because I think Concerts on Broadway tends to attract a more mature audience, which might be more appreciative of art and awarding arts and stuff like that. Not that kids don't appreciate and shouldn't appreciate arts, but I think the Community Art Party might be more of I just vote for Concerts on Broadway.
And so what dates are those? What are the other two dates?
August 24th is the Afrosonics concert. And September 21st is the Summer Groove Party Band. September 14th is the Community Art Party.
Well, I think that's fine too. And it's evening, right? So it's going to be cooler.
I like the idea of the art party, but I think Lizzie has a good point that it does tend to attract a more mature audience.
Mm.
Adults.
Yeah.
The only Cassandra, do we have, or do you have any general numbers on what the amount of attendees are versus concerts on Broadway? And then how many citizens overall would be at the art party?
Commissioner O'Leary, if attendance from past years is generally a good indicator, concerts on Broadway are 300 to 500 people. The community art party, we estimated 600 people, and we anticipate it being larger this year. Although not all of those people might be at the band shell, which is where we would do it at the same time, because they're kind of spread out a little bit more throughout the event. Although when we started the ceremony, it would probably draw several of those people.
Yeah, because that would, that, I mean, I think they're both valuable and vital locations to do it at. And I guess there isn't that much of a difference in the amount of attendees. So in one sense, I think it might be easier to get, well, definitely easier to get the groups total focus on the awards here at the Concerts on Broadway, because they're all in the same location at the same time, where the art party can be spread out. So I could go either way on it.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, this is Bobby. I vote for the concerts on Broadway. I think mainly because it's at City Hall and it is a more mature audience, but I think it, we did it last year, and so from my experience, it just went really well. And so I think based on experience and doing it here in the past, I feel we have more logistically more control of what we can expect and how it can go a little better based on what we learned last year. If we do it at the park, it might be a little more, some unknowns and whatnot. So my vote is to do it here at City Hall.
One more addition, I think City Hall makes a very nice backdrop for any media coverage that we might get. Meridian City Hall looks good.
Does anybody have an opinion of August 24th versus 9/21?
No, my only thought on that is that a decision we can make after we find out the availability of the awardees? Cassandra, and you've been in contact with them, so we schedule around their availability?
They don't know about these awards yet because they weren't approved until just now. My preference on the concerts would be the third one after we've got the kinks worked out from the first few concerts so that we have less for that first one.
So I agree. I think the last one, because the last one's usually the biggest one out of all of them, the best attended. So if we could do the last concert, I think that would be successful.
Thank you for the feedback, commissioners. We will plan on the September 24th concert.
All right. Crystal, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you. We've moved on to reports, just so you know.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm gonna scooch that a little closer. We're going to hear from Cassandra next.
Hello, Madam Chair and Commissioners. So I'm just going to give a verbal update. This is all in the memo that I also printed off for you. West Data School District traffic boxes, those were approved by council. And so Our traffic box cleaning and maintenance person has already gone out. It's funny, I got a call. Is there somebody supposed to be doing something to that box? And yes, he was out there cleaning and checking it off, and we'll send back a report. So based on what he says, we'll prioritize locations for the next ones. And then the professional artist boxes, we have that call to artists out right now. So something that all of you could do that would be helpful is to help spread the word that that call is open and closes July 5th. So we have not quite a month for those. We already have 2 applications. There was a third one that had some trouble with formatting. I think she's going to try to fix that, but I anticipate a lot more coming in as the call closes because that's a very popular program. Linder Overpass project is moving along. We had a pre-app meeting with city staff and Ada County Highway District and Planning Department and the landscape architect. So those proposals will be coming in July 1st. And 4 of you are on that evaluation panel and got an email with a date and time for that. The Chateau Park project's also going well, and those of you that are on that committee group got the final proposal, so we'll be talking about that on Monday. So hopefully that looks good to most of the committee. It looked good to me, and moving forward on that. Temporary mural project for the community art party. Let's wait till we get to the public art committee meeting, and Bobby can help give us an update on that. Gallery shows. Lizzie will give us an update on most of that, but I did want to just point out the Voices and Votes exhibit with the Smithsonian. For the Smithsonian exhibit, I had talked to College of Western Idaho about partnering, and they confirmed that they'll be partners. So I'm waiting on a letter for them so I can submit that application. And I'm going to turn it over to Paxton to talk about the Initial Point Gallery call to artists.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm going to be going over the general process for the call to artists for Initial Point Gallery. Most of you know a lot of this information. I'm just going to be refreshing you about it. So as we know, the call was closed on the 31st of May. And now that the deadline has passed, we're going to be needing score sheets from all the commissioners. And they will need to be turned in by Monday, the 17th at 4:30. Due to the large number of applicants, the scoring process will take longer than usual, so please keep that in mind. During the jury process, your scores will be anonymous and comments are optional but very greatly appreciated. Once I have received all individual score sheets, they will be compiled into one document and the applications will be sorted by highest to lowest average score. So now I'm going to be going over the selection committee. After the scoring process, the Initial Point Gallery Subcommittee and the Arts and Culture Coordinator and I, Cassandra, will act as the selection committee and review all applications received to select and schedule the artists for 2025. If there's an excess of applications and/or limited availability for the submitting artists, the subcommittee may schedule some artists 2 years in advance. If there are inadequate and/or insufficient responses in applicants, the subcommittee may reach out to artists who have not submitted applications to invite them to show in the gallery. And I'll now go over the typical pattern of scheduling. So group shows are scheduled to take up the entire gallery typically. If they do not have 3D artists, we will go over submitted other artists and maybe have them join their show. Individual artist applications are grouped together depending on themes, mediums, and content that will work well together and are given allotment of space depending on the number of artists. So like 2 artists will have 50-50 space in the show, 3 artists, 1 will have 50 linear feet, and then 2 of them will split the remaining 25 feet or 50 feet. 4 artists, each one will have an equal allotment of 25 feet. So generally the gallery tries to schedule repeating visitors every other year to make it a little more fair. The exception to this are the West Ada School District show and the Treasure Valley Artists Alliance show. So the Initial Point Gallery schedule will be proposed in the next MAC meeting for approval. And after approval, I will send notices to and acceptance agreements to the chosen artists. The acceptance agreements will then be put into 1 to 2 lumps in front of the city council. So I also wanted to touch on some of the marketing. While approaching the deadline, we had several posts on social media for the call to artists that had a good amount of interaction. The most successful post was on Instagram. It reached 1,100 people and got 16 shares. We also received a total of 42 applications with 8 different artist groups, which is the most we have ever received. And I also wanted to say on a personal note, there are a lot of really fun and playful artworks this year, and I'm really excited to see how it'll be curated.
Any questions about the process? And you're due on Monday, so I know a lot of you still have yet to do them. Update on the youth performing arts projects. Treasure Valley Children's Theater has a performance this month in June on the 28th at Kleiner Park. So if you're able to attend that, please do. Idaho Fine Arts Academy, the written reports are in the packet just for you to check out. Theirs is done. And the high school bands, we executed that agreement. So that's going forward. All looks good. And event updates. So you all got the invitation for the Idaho Commission on the Arts listening session. I think I have about 17 RSVPs for people to come in, so it should be a good group. If there's anyone else that you think of they should really come, just let me know. We'll get them on the RSVP list. It's a really good opportunity for us to give feedback to the Idaho Commission on the Arts to look at what's important for Idaho or for the arts in the state of Idaho. That it's a major grant funding institution, so it's kind of cool to be able to give them that direct feedback. And the community art party is pretty exciting. We've got we have 5 different dance and story and music groups confirmed or checking with their board to make sure to see if they can do it. For the band shell, we're looking at Story Night, which does like short story performances, Boise Rock School, the Capital City Choir, and what else did we have? Oh, Idaho Fine Arts Academy dance students. I think a few more I'm not remembering, but that's looking good. Chalk art competition is all up online for people to register for. And if you get a chance, if you can look at the website, it'll kind of constantly be being updated if you have any edits or things. Leading up to the event, proofreading is great, and the more eyes, the better. So thanks.
Thank you. All right, so the next person we are hearing from is Lizzie Taylor with the IPG update.
Hi there. Maybe I did it right this time. I think you can hear me. First of all, I just want to share with you, I got a totally unsolicited, very complimentary comment from Nellie at Idaho Art Gallery, which if you have not seen it yet, go and see it. It's pretty spectacular. It's right in the middle of downtown. Anyway, her unsolicited, very complimentary comment was, quote, "I don't see what this or how the city of Meridian could operate without Cassandra Schiffler." Totally agreed. And Nellie, who runs an art gallery and so knows an awful lot about stuff like that, thinks that the current exhibit at Initial Point is, and I quote, "utterly spectacular," end quote, which I happen to agree with. It's called Unplanned Experience with artists Pete Grady, who at the opening sold not 1, not 2, but 3 pieces. I don't know if Tyler Crabb sold or not, and I know that Kyla sold at least 1 piece at the opening. The opening was June 4. Host was Brecken, who looked absolutely lovely. How many people did we have, Brecken?
I think I stopped at 60.
Good.
I think that was my count. Yeah.
63, says
Oh,
Cassandra.
nice. Thanks.
He's doing all this hoo-ha across the, okay.
It
so
was a good turnout, and lots of people came for the talk
right.
as well, so a lot of people were coming. Tyler spoke first, and lots of people came while he was talking or just after too. So yeah, it was really, I think it was successful.
So thank you very much for hosting. The next exhibit is called Cross Sections, Jan Freeman Long, Martha Channer, Stephen Fisher. Opens on the 6th of August. The host is Patrick O'Leary. Patrick, be there and, click away and talk to people and all like that. There's an additional artist talk event because this is a 2-month exhibit, which is on September 10th at noon. More information to follow. So that's it. So thanks, Cassandra, for being so absolutely essential to the city of Meridian.
Excellent. All right. So our next update is events and outreach by Crystal Paulson. Oh, okay. So as you know from the beginning of the meeting, we've talked about the Tammy DeVerde Awards. We had some great nominations. We have people from each category, and that's pretty much it. I'm very excited. Some of them don't know they've been nominated, so I'm really excited to see their response to it because they stand out for sure. So I'm excited to see their response. All right, so next on our agenda is the Public Art Committee update by Bobby Gatton.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, my report on public art is that we, at our last meeting, we discussed 6 items. We recapped the 5 Mile Creek Trail Hub ribbon cutting. Cassandra summarized that the event was a success, and the mayor spoke, and Cassandra spoke, and the artist Eileen Gay also had some words to say, and it went really well. We also talked about the upcoming transit shelter public art ribbon cutting. As you know, it's been postponed, and we'll be on the lookout for the date that whenever the date comes out, we'll be in the lookout for that. We also had a project updates. Cassandra basically touched on most of these, including the student art traffic boxes, the Chateau public art, the Fuller Park. That's on hold at the moment just because of other priorities. I know we discussed perhaps just our newest public art committee members to maybe just take a visit to the park and see if there's anything that might spark some ideas or themes for the future. But for now, it's on a hold. Let's see. We also discussed the Linder Overpass Public Art Project Plan, and so we reviewed the public art project plan for Linder Overpass. Cassandra will reschedule a pre-proposal meeting with staff and the architects and the artists as they prepare their proposals. And there's a date out for that already. It is,
That meeting already happened.
oh, duh, yes, okay.
And it was great. The artists were all really grateful for the feedback, and it was really nice to have ACHD there. And they actually had this map of the whole thing that they were able to lay out on the table, which was helpful. And so that meeting went well, and their proposals are due, I think, July 1st is the next step.
Okay, and so Bridget and I will be representing the Arts Commission at the next meeting when they do share that proposal. And so let's see, we reviewed and discussed the 2024 traffic box call to artists. The evaluation panel will be held in late July. Cassandra posed the question of who the commission should invite to stakeholders. So we were basically talking about, based on location, maybe it'd be a good idea to invite folks that live in the area to maybe attend, or at least maybe be part of the evaluation for the traffic boxes in that area. And so we did that. And then lastly, we talked about public art project at the at the community art party, we, we talked about, we suggested an art project. I brought up an art project for the community art party. And, I've seen these before at events like this. You guys have probably seen it as well, where you see live art happening. It's an experience people see. I thought as part of the public art committee, we could represent that in some sort of way. What came to mind was the tree fort public art installation that happened last or earlier in the spring. And we came up with the idea. Cassandra started making some calls and reached out to some of her connections. And yes, we are so lucky to have Cassandra in on our team here. She reached out and she was able to get a really good lead, and it turns out that we found an artist by the name of Jay Smith, that he will take on this temporary public art project for the party. He has experience doing it. He was involved at the one at Tree Fort, and he agreed to at our next public art meeting to share his proposal for what the plan would be for that event. He's already solicited some artists, and he's found already a team, and so things are moving along really well there. The there's a budget of $2,500 to build, construct, and also pay the artists. It kind of breaks down to about $500 or so per artist. And the objective of the temporary public art project is to bring an art mural project to a family-friendly, arts-focused event. And it would be interactive with the public as they participate and experience live art as professional artists are creating something special for the event. And yeah, it's that happy to say that public art project is moving along, and we are looking forward to the proposal that will be presented by Jay Smith at our next public art meeting. And that's all I have for the public arts. Thank you.
Commissioners, I just wanted to add one thing about that project that Jay Smith is working on. So there would be the professional artist, but there would definitely be, last I talked to him, he was looking at doing like a paint by number style thing where people would come up, and so the public could come in and help create part of the mural.
Thank you.
Excellent.
I just have one question. That public art project, is it something that'll go up and then be around for a while? Or is it up and gone the next day?
That's a good question. I would like to see, it would be nice to have it up and able for us to maybe experience it at another location. I know from the past, it's just temporary for the event. Tree Fort was a week long or a few days. I didn't get to that detail. Cassandra, were you able to ask Jay what his recommendations were for
We
that?
don't have, they could go somewhere at some point, but it would just be for the event. It's temporary in nature, but if there was a location that was secured for it, then that could be considered. But at this time, there's no permanent location for anything.
Thanks for that question.
Any other questions? Okay, good question. So we have a final report on the Idaho Fine Arts Academy Youth Performing Arts Project. Did you already do that?
It's mostly an informational item only if anyone had any questions, but
Can't hear me? Okay. Um, Before we go into our highlight, I'm going to bounce back to Lizzie. She wanted to mention something else about IPG.
My brain cells, I think, were going in overload, and I forgot to mention this. And this is actually kind of fun. A couple of days ago, I was at Initial Point just to see it because the exhibit is so gorgeous. And off the elevator, at the same time that I was getting off the elevator, was a Meridian police officer. And I said, hi. And he said, well, hello. And he said, what's this? And I said, this is Initial Point Gallery. And I told him all about it, blah, blah, blah. And he asked really, really good questions. Oh, how many artists do you have? How do you get to show here? Who are the artists? Where do they come from? Do they have to pay? Do you pay them? I mean, really a whole pod of really good questions. So I answered him as best I could, which gave me an idea. We make lovely promotional posters every month. And to the best of my knowledge, nobody has approached the police department to post our posters. I don't know if they have a break room or an activity room, and one does not go into a police department saying, hi, can you please hang this poster up in your window? The police department is not Big Daddy's Barbecue. Okay, so Cassandra was kind enough to share the name of the police chief's administrative assistant with whom I have not yet communicated. I've sent her a note asking what we'd like. I haven't heard back, but if we do get an approval for that, I will take care of delivering our promotional posters on a monthly basis, absolutely. Because if we make a promise that we're going to do this, we got to do it. I will take them to both police departments. I can't say for sure whether we'll be accepted or not. It would be a little bit more difficult with fire stations because while they have a break room, they have rotating personnel. And I don't know if each fire station has sort of a captain of the day or whatever, but fire stations can be a little bit iffy. But the police thing, I think, would be a very, very good idea if they say yes. So there you go.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Okay, so now on to our inclusivity highlight with Bridget King.
Okay, and if you guys will just bear with me, I have some materials to hand out before I get started. All right, can you guys hear me okay? No? Okay. Commissioners, good afternoon. I'm excited to present to you today. My presentation is on neurographic art. Essentially what neurographic art, the purpose of it is to transform some difficult emotions or stress into something that's very beautiful and healing. Okay, so that's what we're going to go over today. Oops. There we go. Okay, neurographic art is supposed to be a meditative process. And the idea of it is that we are using our brain cells with our neurons, and we have billions of these along with connections that are taking place constantly, okay? When you make this type of art and follow this process, the idea is that in the end, it oddly resembles kind of cells and neurons, the process, but it's gonna make some new pathways through this process, okay? It was founded by a Russian psychologist. I might butcher his name, but it's Pavel Piskarev, and it's new as of 2014. This is kind of what he put out. His idea in essence, is that he believes that the creative process could do a couple of things. One, it engages more neurons and helps us make new connections in our brain. And two, it enhances people's abilities to do the following: focus, get new skills, improve decision-making, and retain information in all areas of life. Okay, now when you do this artwork, it is all about the process. It's not about the end result. Okay, when you follow these steps to make neurographic art, your brain is supposed to be making new neural pathways and connections about what you were thinking about while you make the art. Okay, so there's 5 steps to this. I gave each of you a little packet, so you should have a little postcard, and I need you to flip it over to the back side. The pink paper is so that you can put under it, because we're going to be drawing on this and I don't want to draw on the counter. So that's your piece of paper that goes under it. But on the back side of this, the first step for neurographic art is you think of a challenge or something that's stressful in your life, and you just write it down on the back of this card. So just take 10, 15 seconds, write down something that's challenging or stressful right now on the back side with the lines. Yeah. Yep. Yep, doesn't matter where, just write down a challenge or stress that you are facing currently. Okay, looks like we're about there. Once you're done, you can go ahead and flip your paper over. Okay, before you do anything on the other side, let me just kind of walk through what the rules are for this and how this works. Okay, we're going to do some intentional scribbling on the front side of this paper. And usually use a black marker or Sharpie or pen of some kind, because we don't want pencil. We don't want to be able to erase what we do. Okay, what you put down is what's there. We're going to do some intentional scribbling, and there are 2 rules when you do this. The first one is you're not trying to make a pattern and do a repetitive pattern with this. The second one is the lines all have to begin and end on the edge of the paper somewhere. Okay, you can fill in as much as you want. You can start and end a line, you can start a new one, but nothing can end in the middle of the paper. It has to go to an edge. Okay, when you add your lines and scribbles, you do it until the page seems complete or weighted, but not too full. You don't want to overfill it. And you can vary your lines. You can make some thick, you can make some thin, totally fine. So the example on your screen, you can see they've started doing this. When I do this with students and other people, I often tell them, as you start doing this intentional scribbling, you're doing it semi-slowly. And I tell my students, think about it in your head, what your problem, stress, challenges. Imagine it going down your head, your neck, out your arm, to your pen, and what kind of lines are you creating. Okay, so if you'll do this with me, I need you to take about 15 to 30 seconds. You're going to use the black marker, pen, Sharpie, whatever it was that you took, and going from edge to edge, just start making some lines as you think about your stress or your challenge, please. Okay, now you should have it pretty well filled in. If you still need to add some lines, that's fine. I'm going to show you what the next step is because this step actually takes the longest time. So you won't have time to complete this while we're here doing this, but you'll get a good start. Step 3, this is the part that takes the longest, but this is also a really critical part to this process. So what we're doing in this one is we're going to round out any sharp corners or edges. So wherever lines cross and intersect each other, if you can see on my example, we're going to round them out by making little quarter circles on each of where the intersections are, okay? And what's going to happen is as you start adding in these curved lines to these corners and filling them in, your end result, if you look on your screen, is every shape is going to be some sort of rounded organic shape that is left, okay? So take just a minute or two and start rounding out corners. Now, depending on what size you do this on, I've given you postcards. I've done this with students on giant paper. This part can take hours and hours just to fill in all of these edges and parts. Okay, every intersection of lines should be rounded. Now, the idea of this is that we are softening the edges or what your challenge or problem is. We're trying to kind of soften what that is as you think about it. Now, as you finish this and go through it, which we don't have time to right now, but as you work on this, that's the idea, is think about your stress or challenge while you're doing this. Throughout this process, and when you get that done, our next step is that we would add color to it. So on the screen, you can see, I always recommend to students to start with paints, but you get to add whatever color you want to this as you go. You can use markers, crayons, you can mix media, whatever you want, things like that with this. And there's no rules on what colors you get to add or not. It's up to you as you do this. Now, I've also had people do this. I've done this during meetings while I'm listening, things like this. It's actually just really calming to make these shapes and curve these lines and edges and things like this. Because once you fill this in with color like this, I'm going to show you some examples of some finished ones. When you finish coloring them in, the final step of this process is that you look at it and whether or not you like the finished piece, okay, the look of it is not what's important. But when you look at the piece and you reflect on, how do I feel about that stress or that challenge through this process or now that it's done? The hope and the idea is that you've got some sort of just even calming sensation, or that it doesn't seem so great or so difficult, even if it's just in the creation time of doing this, okay? Some people have actually taken this a step further. So the examples that I have here, a lot of people have found they like adding text to it. It's helpful in the process. People have done this over book pages. And most recently, and it's kind of becoming a big thing, is they take this process and they actually try and make actual images out of it or portraits, things like that using this technique. Regardless of how you do it or what the final outcome is, the goal is, did the process help with what you were struggling with or thinking about or having any stress over? So I hope at some point you guys can just play with this a little bit. If nothing else, it's very meditative and very relaxing. So thank you.
Okay, I think, do we have a motion to close the meeting?
Madam Chair, Madam Co-Chair, and all the rest of you, I so move that we adjourn the meeting.
Do we have a second? Thank you. Lizzie Taylor motions, Bridget King seconds. All in favor?
Okay.
I
Right. All eyes. Thank you.